been a positive gesture. You know, this is about players, and this group of players are more active than any generation before. And what the message around taking the knee was that they've had enough. Now, I think the challenge is that arguably the expectation has become that players, it's their responsibility somehow to drive the changes that are needed, and I think that's ridiculous, to be honest. I think we need to get back to really understanding why players were taking the knee. And when I look at some of the challenges that I think we're just alluding to them, Mercy, we've got a situation where we're still not seeing any improvements in the numbers of black managers and coaches coming through the system. That has to change. We've had one black referee in the history of the Premier League, and he retired in 2008. We've currently got no black referees. We've got one black referee in all four divisions of football at the minute. And we've got a woefully few South Asian players that are managing to make it to professional ranks, despite the fact that we've got great representation in grassroots football. None of those issues are challenges that the players can address. By taking the knee, they highlighted them, but what we need to get back to now is putting pressure on the people in power to make change in the areas that they control. That's not about players.
Can I just ask you $1 million question, which is that you mentioned there those statistics about the low levels of black referees and black players and other sort of positions as well. What do you attribute that to? Is it racism?
I think I'm always wary of banding that word around, because I think it's used far too often. So if I look at refereeing, which is probably the most stark example, of course there are some incidents where we've been reported and looked into where racism is really clear, actually. But I think on a bigger picture, this is about systemic bias. This is about people in positions of power that self-replicate because, you know, we're all human beings. They recruit in their own image. They recruit people who look like them, behave like them. I think the challenge we've got in football is that quite often the systems and processes that you'd see probably in some bigger organisations and other organisations to make sure recruitment processes are fair aren't necessarily there. And so there's stuff that we can do systemically to make sure that black and Asian players, coaches, etc., and women as well, get equal opportunity to opportunities within football. Boardroom appointments is another great example. You know, the lack of diversity in football boardrooms is remarkable, and we've got to change all that stuff.